Good morning. Welcome back to Coffee and Colorful Conversation. Because it is the eve of a holiday, everyone has so much going on. I wanted to make sure that this was an extra special coffee chat and not just little old me rambling on about my usual things. As passionate as I am about doing that for you, I also really love to bring guests to you that you may not have been aware of. You may not have heard of what we're going to talk about. I know I didn't until I took her wonderful mini course. But we connected in a group for virtual education. She had reached out and said, she asked a question and I jumped in and said, oh my gosh, this is what I do. I'm a hairdresser too. We connected. I interviewed her on my podcast and I could have talked to her forever. She is a former hairstylist, so she can relate to all of us. She's been behind the chair for 10 years prior to doing this. So she knows all of the pain points that we go through, all of the ups and downs of life behind the chair. So I don't want to waste a lot of time with the introduction. I want to bring her on. Her name is Lindsey Means, and she is going to share with you something really cool and new. I can almost guarantee nobody on here has heard of it, because if I didn't hear of it, you didn't hear of it. I'm pretty into the woo-woo, and I'm a pretty eager student. So here we go. We're going to bring Lindsey in. She's patiently waiting. Hey, Lindsey.
Hi.
Welcome to Coffee Chat. We have a wonderful group here. So this is a great way for you to get to know a lot more hairstylists and introduce this amazing thing called human design. I got so many comments when I sent out the reminder. What is it in my DMs? What's human design? I'm like, come to Coffee Chat.
I'm so excited to be here and to share about it.
Thank you. It's early, even earlier for you. So thank you for the early morning. We have a little different time zone. So tell everyone what human design is, especially from a hairstylist perspective. Most people watching are still behind the chair, or they're in school just starting out, or they may have retired, but they're still interested in hair. So we have a good hair crew here.
Oh, that's amazing. I love that. So human design is an energetic blueprint. So it's like an operation manual for your mind and your body. And I discovered it earlier this year, and it is very in-depth. It essentially uses your birthday to create your own personalized chart. And once you have your chart, then you can start learning more about who you are. And so when I first discovered it, I started experimenting with what I learned, and life just kind of got a little easier, and I started to know myself more, and all of the things I thought that I was just a weirdo my whole life, my design was like, no, this is who you are, and it's okay to be you. And I think the main thing for me is that it gave me permission to be myself and to lean into these aspects of who I am that I thought I couldn't show to the world because it was weird or different. And human design celebrates diversity, because each and every one of you watching right now, you're completely different from me and from Elaine and from everyone else. And in a world that wants to make everyone same, human design celebrates your differences. And it is really a tool to know who you are. And that's what human design says. It helps you answer the question, who am I?
I love that. I always say to my life coach, I wish that the lower grades in schools would embrace this type of education, because what is more important? Knowing the capitals of every state, which I can't tell you to this day, and I don't really care. Like if someone asked me, I would say, Siri, what's the capital of
totally.
So, especially imagine this generation now learning some of the crap that we had to memorize that means nothing. And I'm not saying all of what we learned means nothing, but they didn't get into the relationship side, the knowing yourself. Like imagine all those little kids that felt different, the artsy kid that just wanted to sit and draw when everybody else was like shooting each other in the schoolyard. If he or she knew that this is the way that your cells and everything in your body was made up. And every one of us, to your point, was made to be special, to be different. It would be so boring if we were all the same. So learning, I love that it comes from the birth chart, because any chance that I get to have an astrology chart done and have it updated, I do it like every 10 years where they'll do like a whole chart with me. And it was funny. The last time I did it, I was with my best friend at a spa, and we got our times crossed and we both showed up together. We thought there was two different people and that our appointments were the same time. And we were back to back. So one of us missed our appointment. So I said to the woman, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Can you still fit us in? She said, sure. I'll just make it a little bit shorter. So I said, can we sit in on each other's? Because when I was talking to you and you were sharing with me about human design and you were saying, you're this, you're that, you're this, you're so excited. You want to like take it all in, but then you forget what you said. Like anytime I get like a palm reading or a card reading, I'm like, what did she say? I didn't write it down. So I said, can my friend be in here so that she can kind of get things that I'm maybe going over my head or whatever? So my chart was so heavily, they split it up with like family, relationships, work, all that. It was so work, work, work. And that's who I am. That's exactly how my life is. But there was not, the whole home and family was empty.
Wow.
And I was like, she's like, do you have any questions? And I was like, yeah, what happened to my family? Like, is something going to happen to them? I said, I have a husband and 2 kids. And she said, oh, I'm so sorry. I assumed you two were together. She thought my girlfriend and I were a couple. And I was like, oh, I didn't even think to like say that was just my best friend. But she said, your energy is so masculine. And I know that about myself. I'm very like, I'll walk up to somebody I just met and say something totally inappropriate and not even think that it's weird to say that. Like, I'm just very, you get what you see. What you see is what you get. I don't play any games or any of that. So that's a very leans towards masculine trait. And, if I had known from this human design or from astrology as a kid, I would be like, what's wrong with that? Men get paid more than we do. They, have a lot of advantages over us. Like, what's wrong with that? So I love that. And I love when you and I were talking during the podcast, you nailed me right away. Like, you didn't even have my birth date. You didn't know if I was the Taurus, which I am. You didn't know anything about me. And you're new to this whole concept, and knowing the things that you know now, you can speak to someone and in a few minutes know what they are. And then imagine having that skill with guessing what our clients are and knowing how to talk to them better. So talk about that, like how stylists can use this information. It's fun. It's fun to have the information just to be at a cocktail party, like, oh, you're a Manny Jen and you're a, like to do that. And people look at you like, okay, weirdo, where are your crystals? But in relationship, I think it would be an amazing edge to have.
Oh, totally. So I think that I'm so like, give me all the information about it. So I've read a ton of books, and I look at every single person's chart who will give me their birthday. And so I've gotten to the point where I can kind of tell, like you said, but there's really, human design is huge. Like, whenever you look at your chart, by the way, you can go to mybodygraph.com and get your free chart for everyone who's watching, because when you get your free chart, and if you don't know your birth time, you can put 12 p.m., but just know that it might be a little bit different because it is based on exactly what time you were born and exactly when you, where you were born. So when you get your chart, you're going to look at it and you're going to be like, what the heck am I even looking at? So
that's me. I still don't know what I'm looking at.
Yeah, it's very weird looking. You have a little person, and then you've got some squares and some numbers, and it is very in-depth. But really, all you need to know is your type, your strategy, and your authority. And so your type, just very quickly, there's 5 different types, and that's kind of like your sun sign in astrology. And that gives you how you show up in the world and your energy. So this would be really cool to talk about with your clients, because you could just have them pull up their chart really quickly, and then you can be like, oh yeah, you're a manifesting generator or a manifester. And then I have a free course that explains all of this information. But the thing to really start experimenting with is your authority. because that is your internal guidance system, and it helps you know how to confidently make decisions, which is so freaking cool. Like, imagine if we could just make decisions and trust our gut or our intuition or our emotions. And that is super, super powerful. And then our strategy lets us know what's right for us. So there are so many practical ways that you can use this. You can use it by online, on social media, how to connect with. I just did a live the other day where I was talking about, if you're a generator type, here's how to engage with people online. And if you're a projector, here's how to engage with people online. So when you know more about yourself, then you know how to utilize that information within your business. And that, like, for obviously the personal level is transformational in and of itself. But if we can transfer that to our business, then that is super, super powerful. And it just gives you, okay, this is how I make decisions. This is how I know what's right for me. This is how I know how to best utilize my energy to connect with potential clients or people online.
Now, isn't that more helpful than learning how to do a roller set in beauty school in 2020?
Oh yeah.
Well, I shouldn't say roller set, because if you do formal hair, you should know how to do a set, not necessarily an old school under the dryer lady set. But I just feel like everything, COVID has been a nightmare, but it's also been a gift in so many ways, because we've had to adjust to a lot all at once. And I think a lot of people that were like so into material things, and like they want that certain car and they want this and they want that. And then you're trapped in your house with all these nice things and you have no one to hang out with. You can't be social. You can't do anything. And it's like, well, what's it all about? You know? So I think that people are looking at things differently. I think that the world needed this. I think we needed to slow down and enjoy a sunset, a sunrise, a pretty flower. I mean, we like I said, my chart was like so all work that my husband would take a ginormous tree down that was like ready to fall into the house and spend $2,000 on tree work. And he'd be like, doesn't the tree look, doesn't that look great with it? I'm like, what tree? Like, I didn't even know the tree was there. I never even noticed it was leading into the house. Like, there was so many things I didn't notice. And I'm just learning about this stuff at 53. Imagine how my life could have been if I knew this at 23. Like, my daughter is totally tuned in to all of this stuff.
So good.
So light years ahead of most people her age in understanding human behavior, emotional intelligence, all of the things about relationships. That's the most important thing. If you can't go to a cocktail party, look somebody in the eye, shake their hand, and be confident, most of the other things in your life are not going to be going real well, because you're hiding from a lot of things. So I just wish that the whole education system, whether it be beauty school, college, grade school, middle school, all of it needs to embrace a little more of the woo, because we're all just humans, or we're all beings having a human experience. Like, we're all just like a bunch of energy cells floating around on a skeleton, and people just take everything way too serious and hold grudges. And when you and I talked about, I said, when a client comes into the salon and before she even opens that salon door, you can see on her face, her energy sucks, and she's going to punch you in the face with her energy before she even is within spitting distance. Talk about the 6-foot rule. You feel that, and it instantly sticks to you. You want to, like we talked about the other day when I did your work, like, shower it off. You want to shower it off, and you don't know how. So how can we learn to shower off somebody else's ick? Like, what's a great way from what you've learned to be like, here you go. Take a crystal and rub it on them. Go away. Right? Go away, energy.
That one, man, that one is very hard, because so I've been on a personal development journey for about 3 years, and we're ongoing, right? Like it's forever. It's never ending knowledge and learning
There's
about
no graduation, no
No,
diploma.
never. There's always going to be something. And then as soon as you think you've got it figured out, something happens.
Something else.
But I think part of human design in the workshop that I shared with you is there's centers. So the centers are based off the chakra system, and that's how you transmit and receive energy. So when you know how you transmit and receive energy in the salon, that can be very powerful. But dealing with someone that energetic, sort of someone sitting there and they're just freaking out, I think the best thing to do is remind yourself that this has nothing to do with you. Absolutely nothing to do with you. Even if they are projecting onto you, it's something that happened today, earlier, yesterday, a year ago, when you were a kid. Like there's so much. And everyone is living in their own world based upon their own perspective, their own beliefs, and just knowing that. And I think anytime I am around someone like that, I used to want to fix it. Be like, oh my God, I just want to make you happy. I just want to, like, get rid of this emotion because I don't like how it feels. And now anytime I can sense that something's going on with someone, I ask them, like, hey, it feels like you're annoyed, or it feels like you're frustrated or angry or pissed or whatever. And is there anything I can do to support you? Because it's not our job to fix people. And if we can give them a container or a safe space to, what can I do for you? Can I get you a coffee? Do you need to talk before we do your consultation? Do you need a hug? Like, what can I do to serve you in this moment? And then that puts it back on them and gives them this space that if they want to talk, they will. And if not, cool, you can move on. But I think often we think it's our fault or something we did, or we personalize it.
We have to fix it.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with us. But that's hard. Like, it's hard in the moment to have that awareness and to realize, they're not meaning to be a jerk or rude or whatever. It's just whatever they've got going on in their own world.
It's so hard to leave it behind too. Like I met this guy that was the most calm. He looked 20 years younger than he was. We were at an event with Beth Minardi and her husband Carmine, and it was at a beautiful spa. And we had to pair up in partners, and he was my partner. And he had these big white teeth and just always smiling. And it poured rain the one night, and I'm negative Nelly. Oh my God, I can't believe it's raining. One of my activities is outside. This is going to be awful. And he was like, he comes floating into the classroom. We met in the morning, and he goes, wasn't that the most amazing rain last night? The sound just lulled me right to sleep. He said, I cracked my window open because the smell of fresh rain is just so amazing. And I was like, who are you? Like, were you like put here on purpose to tell me how much of an asshole I am right now? Like, and that's an example of the mirroring. I'm like, I'm looking at him, and he's like, wasn't that rain so great? I'm like, dude, how do you do that? And he goes, I get in my car. He said, I have every bit as much stress as you. I'm a hairdresser behind the chair. I take it all in, everybody's energy, everybody's stress. He said, but I owe it to my family to not carry it home with me. That was I had to start staying at work for an extra half hour at the end of the night, because if I rushed right home, I'm starving. I'm sweating. I have hair splinters in places they shouldn't be. I just am like, I need a shower. I need to get it off. So I started staying a little bit and just like taking a breath, drinking a nice glass of water, just like sitting on the sofa in the waiting area, just like, let me remove it. But he said he gets in his car and he has a ritual every night. He said, I roll down all the windows of my car, even if it's 20 degrees out. I roll down all the windows and I say, that was then, this is now, let it go. And he said, I physically go like this out the windows, like, let it go. Let's all move on. Let it go. And he said, I just have a whole new attitude. And I walk in and I hug my wife and I see my kids and everything is fresh and new. And I'm like, wow, it sounds so simple when he says it like that. And it really is, because nothing that happened all day, it should be still with you because you can't change it. That's in the past. And then you start getting anxious about tomorrow, about it happening again. So we're always living in the past and the future, and we're never, ever, ever present. And it's so difficult to like keep reining in that present being.
Oh yeah. I mean, it takes, I don't like the word work, but it takes active
effort.
Yeah. And it really does take awareness. And of course, throughout the day, I mean, our bodies are freaking insane and we aren't even realizing what's going on around us. Like you said with the tree, like you didn't even know there was a tree about to collapse on your house. And that's literally like what happens is we distort information. Who knows what we're actually taking in a lot of times, which is fascinating. But in those moments, I was just talking about a salon ritual yesterday, and I was in some Facebook groups, and a lot of people were talking, I'm so exhausted mentally and physically. And we're always exhausted around this time of the year. And then you have a pandemic on top of it.
And the mask.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, the mask.
The mask.
We were at our settlement for the house and had the masks on. And my husband was like, I got to get up and go get some, like, he was like panicking because he felt so, we both wear glasses. So the glasses keep steaming up and you're signing your life away. Like they're signing the mortgage and it's like, your mortgage will be paid off in 2050. I go, will I be alive? I looked right at him. I was like, am I even going to be alive when I own this house? So you're just like, holy crap. Like, did we really just do that? But then he goes, you know what? He said, God bless the staff that works with these masks on all day. I mean, it's hot doing hair to begin with.
I know.
With the blow dryers and everything, but having that added layer of just claustrophobia, it's a lot. I think you're frozen, Lens. Are you guys doing anything that would affect the internet? It's just frozen. Kept saying you're having a hard time connecting to the internet. Who? I'm still live and she just went away. Can you guys still hear and see me? I don't think so. We paid off in 2050. I go, will I be alive? I looked right at him. Can you guys still hear and see me? I'm live, but she got bumped out. So hopefully Lindsay will figure out how to get back in here. You guys can still hear me. It's always something. See, we're making fun of the universe and the crystals. And they just said, you know what? You're getting kicked off for saying that. I'm always getting in trouble for being fresh. Yeah, she was frozen with a pleasant look. She's adorable, isn't she? And it's just so interesting, the information. Okay, she's trying to get back on. Here she is.
Hello.
Hey, we lost you, but they said you were frozen with a pretty face. Aww. So you have a good frozen.
Oh, good. That's perfect.
So go ahead. I was yapping away about my mortgage, but you continue.
Yes. Well, I kind of got flustered and I was like, oh my God, it died in the middle. So I kind of forgot what we were talking about.
Well, first of all, tell them how they can get started with this, because there's a lot of people saying, wow, this is so cool. Oh my gosh, I love it. And it really is interesting. You and I did your live masterclass for it. And I had said to you after, we reached out afterwards and I said, wow, that was a lot. Like that could have been in 3 sessions, because I see in you exactly how I am with hair color. Like you were just like, you wanted to give 4 years worth of information in a 90-minute class, but that says a lot about who you are as an educator and as someone who wants to just share this message. So I want more hairstylists to, did you take your earbuds off? Because I'm getting feedback.
I did. They were on my computer. I can run downstairs and get my phone.
Let me turn me down because maybe that'll help because I'm loud anyway. But I'm definitely having you in the Hair Color Secrets Insider membership. We're going to do a workshop on one of our coaching calls because my members are used to the woo. They're used to my craziness, and they always welcome all these new concepts and love everything. So we're going to do that. But for people who are not members and who are coffee chat people that want to know more about you and what you do, tell them how they can find your free workshop as well as your paid mini workshop.
Yeah, of course. The easiest way is to go to my website, and it's wazesociety.com. So you can see on my little name thing. Oh my God, where is it? Right there. Way is spelled W-A-I. And it's so funny because Way stands for Who Am I? And a couple years, 3 years ago now, I wanted to start a podcast, and I had started my personal development journey, and I wanted to share it with everyone because I finally started loving myself and just getting to know who I was and realizing that our thoughts I'm not my thoughts, and just so much. And so I was driving home from my partner and I were trying to talk about a name for my podcast. And then on the way home, I was like, who am I to start a podcast? No one's going to listen to me. And then right after that, I was like, who am I? I don't care if one person listens to me. If I can give value to someone, then that's what matters. And we can either use, just like you were saying with your friend your partner at that event, you can either say, who am I? I'm a freaking badass. I'm an amazing colorist. I'm an amazing hairstylist. Or you can say, who am I? I suck. I'm a loser. This. So we have that duality of any situation. I believe in unconditional happiness. And regardless of what's happening in my life, I can go into my mind and find something that makes me happy, whether it's my dog or a thought of my partner or my family or whatever it is. And so in any moment, we can retreat to our mind and kind of have that, find happiness somewhere. But it's just a beautiful thing. But yeah, if you go to wazesociety.com, the course is right up in the top corner. So you can click that, and then it's got 5 different, it's got a bunch of information. It's 5 ways to start attracting dream clients. So you'll learn, I go into the woo in there, you'll learn how to create an experience and create a dream client persona. And then human design is in module 5. So you will learn about your type and your strategy and your authorities to how to make those decisions and know what's right for you in the world. So you can go there, and then my website's got all of my other content. I've got some online courses, like you took the workshop, and that goes really in depth. Like you said, it could have been three modules. So that one is a lot of information if you want to learn even more. But all you really need to know is your type, your strategy, and your authority. And I'll give you that information in the free course.
I love the name. I love how the name came up because you talked about the chakras, and I was joking with you last time we talked, and I said, give me some time to think on that. I need a shower because when I don't wash my hair every day, but when I do, and that water hits my crown chakra, the ideas are like it gets me in trouble because I'm always like, oh my gosh, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do this. And my kids are like, and you do. Like most people talk about it at dinner. I'm going to write a book. You wrote a book. I'm going to teach hairdressers. You did that. Like I do what I say I'm going to do. So it gets really busy when I shower. But it's amazing how it opens up that area. Like it really is a thing. Like I have all my best ideas, and coming up with a name is always so hard. And what I love is it's who am I? I love because it fits in with everything you're doing, but it also Waze Society sounds so in that crunchy outer world astrology, like way. I love everything about it. I just love what you're doing. It's so cool.
You know, it's when you were talking about the shower thing, I'm pretty sure you have an open head. So that means your inspiration is just coming from anywhere, the universe.
I can't turn it off.
Yeah. And something that you can do is use your sacral to find out if that's right for you. And so Elaine is a manifesting generator in human design, and we have a gut system. So this is what I do, because my head's open too, and I get so many ideas, but not all of those ideas are necessarily for us. And so to know how to filter it out, you literally just ask yourself yes or no questions. Is this idea for me? And listen to your gut. And if your gut says yes, go for it. If your gut says no, leave it. Even though it might be hard to leave it, like, your body knows what's right for you, which is so cool. And that it, like, you can go through life. I go through every day and I'm like, do I want to do this? Yes, no. And listen to my body. And
It's so hard to trust when it doesn't make sense. Like, every decision that I've ever made, like huge decisions, never makes sense to anyone but me. Like, not a single person. So if you're an ask a friend person, if you're always like, does this shirt look okay on me? Should I wear these? Like, if you're that person, you're never going to get in touch with that inner gut, thing that you were born with. And it's a shame, because it will never, ever let you down. Anytime, if I interviewed somebody and I knew in my gut it was a bad decision, but I was like, I need somebody in the salon to answer the phone. Like, if the phone's ringing off the hook, I got to hire this girl. It's a body. Always a mistake. Every single time. It was like the gut feeling was there. I talked myself into it anyway, because it was like, there's nobody else coming along. And then it was like a disaster. And I'm thinking I could have just saved both of us the aggravation by trusting my gut. So it's wonderful that we're born with that.
I talk about this in the course, but every type has a theme for their life. So really, if you only took away your theme, then you would start paying attention. And good luck, because whenever you know this information now, so it's going to start popping up. But our theme is, when we're living by our design, we're going to experience satisfaction. And when we're not, we're going to experience frustration. And those, exactly like you just said, your gut told you yes or no, but you said yes, and you were probably really freaking frustrated.
Because you tend to pick your head over your gut, because it's like, this makes sense, this doesn't. So I'm going to go with this because my husband said that was good. My daughter said that was good. My mom said that was good. Everybody else said that was good. I mean, a tactile good example of that, where it's not anything woo, was decorating the salon. I was redoing the salon and I was picking out the laminate finish for a new desk. And the guy brought me chips, and I picked the one, and every single person that I asked, every client that came in, I would have them on the desk, and I would say, pick one of these. And I put little hash marks next to it, and everybody picked the one, and I was the only one that picked the other one.
Interesting.
So I was like, all right, clearly I have no taste. So I'm going to go with the one that everybody else picked, because they have to look at it. It's just me, I'm doing hair, whether it looks like that or not. So I order it. My cabinet guy knows me well. He did the first decoration for the salon. And he calls me and he goes, you have to get over here to the place where we're building your cabinets. He's like, I guarantee you're not going to like this. This is so not you. I'm like, I know, right? I'm like, everybody else picked it. Why? What's wrong? He goes, just come look at it. So you know how in wood, those little teeny tiny square things that you get at like Home Depot that are the sample?
Yeah.
Well, when it got large, it had those knots in it. So the sample didn't have time to knot. It like had one little swirly thing, but like this had like grandmother willow, freaking Pocahontas knots in it. Like, it was bad. And he was like, I know you'll kill me if I build this desk. And I was like, dude, thank you for calling me. That is awful. I'm like, go with the first one that I picked. And I was like, oh my God, it looks beautiful. See, we picked that. I'm like, yep, you picked it. I was just like, I'm just going to tell them it's the one they picked because they want to be right. But I could give you 15 more examples where, I didn't trust me, and I took the opinion poll, and, it's just never a good thing. Nobody can live inside you and know how you experience things, and everything is perception. Mm-hmm. So even if what you're saying makes perfect sense to you, to everybody in your circle, and you're looking at me like I'm crazy, as long as I'm happy, what do you care?
Yeah.
And you spend the first 50 years of your life doing things that make everybody else happy. I'm like, what is up with that?
This is you bring up a good point, because when I learned that I have this yes or no and that I should trust it, like, I started saying no so much. And I'm a recovering people pleaser because I always want to make people happy. And so I have learned over time, been conditioned to not speak my truth because I'm afraid of the other people's reaction. But now that I have this confidence in, okay, I'm trusting my body no matter what my head says, I'm trusting my body, and no matter what anyone else says, I can have that confidence to know that I'm making the right decision for me. Exactly what you just said. And when you're talking earlier, how we're just beings living a human experience, human design, that's what they call it. They call our body the vehicle, and our soul, the being, the passenger. And we're not designed to, like, our heads are designed for inspiration and communication and fun. It's not supposed to be a decision-making authority, but we let that chatter really hold us back. And human design can help us push through that and have that confidence to trust our intuition and our bodies and our gut and whatever your authority is, which is so cool.
That's amazing. I love it. I love everything about it. I think people are going to be seeing a lot more of you. Not just hair dye. I mean, you can share this with anyone and everyone. And, you know, I would love to see you try to catch people at a younger age. I know the woo is hard to share with young people because they're like, what's she talking about? Like, it just seems too much. But when you do understand that, like my son, you know, he'll be having like a moment where he's just like all in his head and everything's going wrong and everything's negative. And he'll jump on his bike and he'll ride to this one pier where he sits on the water. And every single time he's in that headspace, a dolphin will come up and just like hang out with him every single time.
Oh, that's so
cute. He's like, how's that not energy? You know what I mean? Like, he could go be having a great day and not see a dolphin for 2 months. And the minute he's having a moment where he's just like, what's it all about? What do I do about this? Oh my God, am I moving into that house? Am I taking this class? All the college stuff. He has like 3 dolphins, like just jumping around in front of him.
That is amazing. We live, this world that we live in is so cool. And when we open up our mind to possibilities and use our imagination more, like during meditation, I just imagine, like, what do I want my life to look like, and visualization. And the more we can use our brains for that versus internalizing what we're saying, like, life just becomes so fun, and nature plays with us, and it's so cool.
Totally. I have another story, and I won't go too long because these people listening know I always go on and on and on, but it's a great story. So I found a house here that I was like, want it so badly. It was beach block. I'm like, I always wanted to be close to the beach. Like, this is it. This is it. It was way, way overpriced and super small, like not practical at all for what our lifestyle is. So my husband's like, I mean, if you really have to have it, like, I'll go along with it, but it's just I just don't think it's the right decision. So I said to the woman who owns it, she rents out, it's a vacation home for her. So I said, can we spend the night to see like what it feels like with our crew, you know? So I was like, you usually can't do that, but how cool. So we go to spend the night. And of course, I love the backyard and the pool. And I was like, I couldn't wait. It was right after revival. We had worked so hard. We were exhausted. I'm like, it'll be like a little staycation with the pool. So we got there and it's super small. I'm like talking myself out of it. Of course, it's going to rain. It's like the worst pool day ever because that's the universe telling me this is not a good idea. So my husband, my daughter, and I are sitting outside. And he's like, this is a really spectacular backyard. I get why you love this house, but like, it's hot in Florida. We're not always going to be outside, and it's really small inside. Like, you're not thinking straight. I'm like, I know, but it's so cute and perfect for like a weekend beach house, not a house. And this is our house. So he looks over at this small deck and he says, I'm sorry, like that deck right there, I just picture like a family of possums just totally chilling under there and like all kinds of critters. And I was like, I give him the look like, you're so dramatic. On cue, literally, as soon as he said possum, Mama Possum comes. She didn't scurry. She didn't run. She literally struts out real slow. She's got a baby possum hanging off her thing. She looks dead at my husband, dead at him, just looks at him. And he's like, are you kidding me? Does that thing have rabies? Why is it out during the day? They're not supposed to be out during the day. He's freaking out. My daughter and I are all into the woo. We're like, going on our phone. What does it mean when you see a possum during the day? What's the meaning? And the meaning was totally on point to what we were struggling with. We had an appointment to see the house we just bought that we're moving to today. Actually, the movers are here. Oh. Hopefully they're not going to make too much noise, but I'm like, she came out right then when we were saying, we really hope that this next house is a good fit because it makes more sense. So we go to the next house. We fall in love with it. It's further from the beach. That's the only caveat, but it is better size-wise for my work, for my office, all that. So we fall in love with it. We make a bid on it, and the market down here is absolutely insane. So we go in over asking price, being eager, like we want this house. We've missed so many others. And I'm like, it's a no-brainer. We got it. We get a phone call. There's 3 bids higher than yours. So I'm like, oh, great. This is going to be insane. We're not going to be able to get it. Nothing about the offer made sense. Like, it was like, we're not going to get it. Like, it just doesn't, we can't keep going up. It's already crazy. We got the house. So I said to my husband, I know you don't believe in all the woo, but Possum Girl, she's got us. We're getting this house. I just kept saying, we're getting this house. The possum came out. Like, we're getting it.
Yeah.
He goes to the house. We made settlement on Monday. He's like, I got to go back to the house. The cleaning crew left the key under the mat. He's like, I got to go back and get it. He goes back. He comes back here and he goes, you're never going to believe what just happened. He's like, I was locking up the door and a possum comes walking down our driveway. I'm like, now try and explain that, non-believers. Come on. How many possums show up in that short of time? And it was blocks and blocks away from the other house. It wasn't the same one, but it was just like, wow, if you're ever wondering if you made the right decision, just take a look around you in nature and see what's going on. I have a million other stories about dragonflies and feathers and dimes, and I think once you're open to the fact that the universe has your back and it's not going to allow you to screw up. Like, what is meant to happen really will happen regardless. You know, you're going to lose job opportunities. You're going to lose out on vacations are going to get canceled. I can't tell you how many times a vacation has gotten canceled. And then there's like a disaster that I would have been really hurt if I went on the trip. So you got to just trust it. Yeah, you're going to be disappointed, but you have to trust in what is and just relax a little bit, especially now with what's going on.
And we're trying to control things so much.
Oh.
And me too.
Control Freaks Anonymous.
We do. That's the interesting thing, is that I feel like we do have control, but if we lock ourselves in a box, like, just because you want this thing to happen doesn't mean it's the best thing for you. And I always add like this or something better to my affirmations, because
I love that.
That's something that I think that I want or that's good for me, but maybe it's not. And it's fun. My partner and I'm deep into the woo, and he's like kind of into it a little bit. And I tell him, I'm like, just ask for a sign from the universe. And every single time that he asks for a sign, he gets it. And it's just asking for it. Or I'm reading this book called The Map to Abundance. And it's so cool because she's talking about, okay, if you want a new job, or if you want whatever you're wanting, pay attention. If your best friend got that thing that you want, don't be upset. Be like, hey, I'm creating my own reality and I created this for her. So that means that it's coming for me. And just using all these signs, like we have tons of moths around. And I'm like, they're the abundant moths. And like, anytime I just have fun with it. And if you ask for a sign, you're going to get it, but you have to like be open to like, just ask for something silly like that possum. Like, that's like so random. But if you're like, I want to see the number 777 today. I did that the other day, and literally right afterwards, I saw it on a car. I was like, oh, I did that. And whether it's actually like, whether we are doing it or not, I don't care. Like, I just have fun thinking that was me, and that's cool.
Right.
And just having fun with life.
I love that. And I love you. I love this whole thing. I hope that people are reaching out and joining your free course. I'm in the middle of it. It's very interesting. I'm an overachieving student. So instead of blowing through it, I like want to digest each thing, because I love how you can just be like, blah, 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 and rattle off all the different things. And I'm looking at the chart and I'm trying to see what I am and all of that. So when you do something for our group, I would love for you to dig deeper into my chart and kind of explain it a little bit better, because
that would be cool.
It's so interesting, and just yet another tool that we can have in our arsenal to deal with all kinds of people in our chair. Us hairdressers, we are magical beings. Like we, have all the things that we have to have going on. We have to have skill in what we do, people skills, patience, understanding, forgiveness. When we talked about like how to diffuse other people's energy, I always tended to do it with humor. And it doesn't always work. Sometimes saying something funny can piss the person off even more, because it's like you're mocking them. But to your point about the hug, I've never had a hug not work. And it's a shame, because COVID, people will be like, back, get away from me. But when someone's like biting and coming at you and just like, it's like, come here, bring it in. You need a hug. And when they feel your heart against them, even if they're not hugger, my husband's not a hugger, and he'll try to like push. And I'm like, no, you are going to hug me. You are going to stay still and hug me for a minute. So a hug always works.
Yeah, totally. And we don't have to fix things. I always had this like, I gotta fit like this tick, and we don't have, first of all, there's nothing wrong with emotions. And if we can acknowledge that and just like, okay, how can I validate you or support you or serve you? And if we go in from that perspective, then it's just going to be much better for you and the client.
Exactly. Love and get love. We're all missing hugs right now in COVID. I'm going to be like the hugging bandit when this is over. I'm just going to hug strangers on the street.
I always forget COVID. I guess you can't really hug someone right now, but
no. And I love how like my son is helping move us, and he gives the best hugs. And I haven't seen him in 2 months. And now when he comes, I really shouldn't hug him, because he's in college. Like he's around too many people. I'm a lot older than him. I have surgery set up. So I'm like really trying to stay healthy so that they don't cancel my surgery. So I'm like, it's going to be such a tease having him like in the house and not be able to get in there for a big squeeze.
You can put a mask on though, right?
Yeah, I guess.
It's still not the same.
Yeah. I mean, no, it is the same, but it's still, the mask that I have, like this isn't, this is like, you have to wear the N90, whatever, and then you're sweating and whatever. It is what it is. That's life. But people like you bringing this to us, we have something to look forward to, something else to learn and distract us from this madness. Yes. And just help us, just stay as joyful as we can be, especially going into the holiday season. This was perfect timing for people to just breathe. When you're in that holiday rush, take it deep, go in the back room, excuse yourself, go in the back room, take a breath, go outside, get some air. I've had moments at Christmas time where I have to like leave a client mid-highlight and go out back in the cold and just like let the air hit my face, because it's just too much. Yeah. So take that breath and don't like get to the point where you're having a panic attack. So take care of yourself.
Exactly.
And manage yourself and your needs, and drink lots of water, which I don't do enough of either. I'm good at telling other people to do it. But all of the things for self-care. So thank you so much for this. This was so fun. And I look forward to having you in our membership on one of our coaching calls. So I will be in touch for that. And everyone, thank you for meeting Lindsey and for watching our coffee chat. Any questions, reach out to her, follow her on social media. She's Waze Society on Instagram. Are you on Facebook as well under that, or just under your name?
Everything's Waze Society. And if you want to send me a screenshot of your chart, I would love to give you some insight. It's one of my favorite things to do. So you can DM me on Instagram or Facebook, and I would love to do that for you.
That's awesome. Yeah. You're going to be sorry you said that. You're going to have a couple hundred people sending you their charts, but that's all good.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Everyone have a great day. Great Thanksgiving. Enjoy your families if you can. And I will see you all next week.